My friend, have you ever wondered why hearts are drawn together, why eyes meet across a room, and something stirs deep within the soul? Have you ever asked yourself why someone suddenly seems to love you, why affection rises like a flame in another person's heart toward you? It is not by accident, and it is not by chance. Love, as powerful as it is, often flows out of two great rivers, two mighty reasons that move people toward you. The first reason is what you give. People fall in love with you when they see something in you that reaches beyond yourself and touches them. It may be kindness, a gentle word, a listening ear. It may be a heart that is steady, a hand that is generous, or a spirit that is unshaken when storms rage. People are drawn to givers, not takers. They are drawn to those who carry light when the world is covered in shadows. They are drawn to those who lift them even when they themselves are heavy. You see, love awakens in the heart of another when they recognize that your presence adds life, not drains it. But there is another reason, a sobering one. People fall in love with you not only because of what you give, but sometimes because of what they can take. Yes, some hearts are not stirred by your goodness, but by their own hunger. They are not in love with who you are, but with what you can do for them, with what they can gain, with what they can consume. And so the same heart that is cherished by one may be exploited by another. The same smile that draws admiration from one may be used by another as a tool for selfishness. My friend, this is why we must be discerning. Love is powerful, but motives are many. Some love you because your spirit shines, your integrity is firm, your compassion is real. Others love you because they see an opportunity, a benefit, a doorway to their own desires. And if you are not careful, you will confuse exploitation for affection, manipulation for devotion, need for love. But take heart, when love is pure, when it is born from truth, it cannot be shaken. When someone loves you for who you are, not what you have, it is a love that endures through trial, through loss, through the changing seasons of life. And when someone clings to you only for what they can take, it is a love that will wither the moment the benefit is gone. So guard your heart, but also give from it. Walk wisely, but do not close yourself. Because when love is genuine, when it is built on truth and not transaction, it reflects something far greater than human desire. It reflects the very nature of the divine, who loves not because of what he gains, but because of who he is. My friend, when you truly begin to understand why people fall in love with you, you realize that the first and most powerful reason is what you give, not what you take. Human hearts are not drawn by selfishness, but by selflessness. They are not moved by a greedy hand, but by an open one. People may be impressed by your looks. They may admire your achievements. They may even be attracted to your status. But if there is no substance within, if there is no spirit of giving, the affection will be shallow and it will not endure. You see, the world is filled with people who are tired, lonely, and broken. They do not need more takers. They do not need more people who come only to drain them, to use them, to demand from them. They are searching, even if they don't know it, for someone who carries light, someone who brings hope, someone who adds instead of subtracts, someone who gives instead of steals. That is why people fall in love with you when they sense you are not there to consume, but to contribute. Think of it. Every act of kindness, every gentle word, every selfless deed plants a seed in another person's heart. Long after your words are forgotten, the spirit of what you gave remains. The hand you held in a dark season, the ear you lent when someone had no one else to listen, the strength you gave when they felt like collapsing, these are the moments that build a love that is deep, real, and lasting. You may think it is small, but to them, it is everything. When you step into the room and your presence feels like peace instead of chaos, when your smile feels like healing instead of judgment, when your heart feels like safety instead of threat, that is when someone cannot help but fall in love with you. Not because you tried to impress them, but because you gave them something the world rarely gives. And here is the truth: giving is not always about material things. It is not always about gifts or money. People fall in love with the gift of your patience, the gift of your time, the gift of your understanding. They fall in love with the way you make them feel valued in a world that constantly tells them they are not enough. They fall in love with your consistency, your reliability, your willingness to stand by them when others walk away. They fall in love because you pour into them, not just with words, but with your spirit, with your character, with your faithfulness. And this kind of giving cannot be faked. It is not a performance. It is who you are when no one is watching. Look back over your own life and ask yourself, who are the people you have truly loved? It was not the ones who demanded the most from you. It was not the ones who drained you with their selfishness. It was the ones who gave. Perhaps it was a parent who sacrificed so you could have a chance at life. Perhaps it was a friend who stood beside you when everyone else left. Perhaps it was a teacher who saw potential in you when you couldn't see it yourself. You did not love them because of their appearance or their possessions. You loved them because they gave you something of themselves, something no one else could give. And that is the same truth others feel when they love you. They fall in love because of what you give from your spirit. But make no mistake, giving is not weakness. It is strength. The world often confuses giving with being taken advantage of, but there is a difference. True giving flows from strength, not from emptiness. It flows from a heart that is secure, a heart that does not fear loss, a heart that knows love multiplies when shared. People fall in love with you when they sense you are strong enough to give without losing yourself, when they see you are confident enough to pour out without fear of running dry. That kind of strength is magnetic. That kind of spirit cannot be ignored. And here is the beautiful irony: when you give from your heart, you may not even realize the impact you are having. You may feel like you are simply doing what is natural, what is right, what is ordinary. But to the one receiving, it feels extraordinary. To you, it may just be a smile, but to them, it is the first smile they have seen all week. To you, it may just be listening for a few minutes, but to them, it is the first time they felt heard in years. To you, it may just be a kind word, but to them, it is the rope that pulls them back from despair. Love is born in those small moments of giving, and it grows into something strong, unshakable, and enduring. So I tell you, if you wonder why people fall in love with you, look not at the clothes you wear, the car you drive, the money you make, or the status you hold. Look what you give. Do you give light or do you give darkness? Do you give peace or do you give chaos? Do you give kindness or do you give cruelty? Do you give encouragement or do you give criticism? The answer to those questions will determine not only who falls in love with you, but what kind of love they feel. The shallow will fade, but the true will endure. Because the human heart was created to respond to love, and love cannot be separated from giving. Real love is not selfish. It does not seek its own benefit first. It is generous, sacrificial, and patient. That is why people cannot help but be drawn to you when you live this way. They may not even know why, but they will feel it deep within themselves. And while others may try to impress with beauty, with wealth, with power, you will hold something far greater: love born out of giving. And that, my friend, is the kind of love that changes lives forever, my friend. There is a sobering truth that many hearts do not want to face. Yet it is one of the most important lessons you can ever learn in life. Not everyone who falls in love with you does so out of purity. Some are not drawn to your light, but to what they can extract from it. Some are not moved by your character, but by your usefulness. They are not in love with who you are. They are in love with what you can provide, what you can give, what you can supply to their empty places. And until you recognize this, you will confuse exploitation for devotion and manipulation for affection. People will disguise their hunger as love, but when the benefit runs dry, so will their presence. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone pour themselves out for another, only to be discarded the moment they had nothing left to give? How many relationships have started with sweet words and passionate promises, only to end when the demands could no longer be met? You see, selfish love is conditional. It exists as long as the benefits are flowing. It thrives as long as the other person is meeting a need, but it dies when the supply runs out. And if you are not careful, you will give your heart to someone who never wanted your heart at all. They only wanted your hands, your resources, your energy, your attention. This kind of love is dangerous because it wears the mask of sincerity. On the surface, it looks real. They say the right words, they play the right part. They paint the picture of devotion. But underneath the foundation is not affection, it is appetite. They do not cherish you, they consume you. They do not honor you, they use you. And when they have taken what they came for, their love vanishes like smoke in the wind. That is why discernment is not just wise, it is essential. You must learn to look beyond the surface, beyond the charm, beyond the flattery, and ask, do they love me, or do they love me for what they can gain? Many hearts are left broken, not because they were unloved, but because they were misled. They mistook dependence for devotion, possession for passion. But true love does not vanish when the benefits are gone. True love does not run when the season changes. True love does not cling to you only when you are strong, only when you are shining, only when you have something to offer. True love remains when you are weak, when you are empty, when you have nothing but yourself to give. Selfish love cannot survive those seasons because selfish love was never love at all. It was a transaction. Consider how often people are drawn to wealth, to influence, to status. They say they love the person, but strip away the possessions, remove the position, silence the applause, and see who remains. If love was built on benefits, then the moment those benefits disappear, the person disappears too. But if love is built on the essence of who you are, then even if everything else is stripped away, they will remain by your side. That is how you know the difference. And here is the danger. If you do not guard your heart, if you do not use wisdom, people who only want to take will leave you drained, disillusioned, and doubting your worth. You will wonder why you were not enough, when the truth is you were more than enough. They simply never wanted you. They wanted the gifts attached to you. They wanted the opportunities, the comfort, the support, the benefit. And when they had consumed it, they moved on to their next source. This is why so many live in cycles of heartbreak, because they keep mistaking hunger for love. But let me remind you, the problem is not that you give. Giving is beautiful. Generosity is powerful. Kindness is noble. The danger lies in giving without discernment, pouring without wisdom, opening your heart to those who only want to take and never intend to give in return. A river can nourish, but if it is constantly drained without replenishment, it will eventually run dry, and so it is with your spirit. If you are not careful, you will allow people who only want to take to leave you empty, and then they will abandon you to search for their next supply. People fall in love with you for what they can take when they see you as a solution to their problems, but not as a person with needs of your own. They treat you as a resource, not a soul. They look at you and think, what can this person do for me? How can they meet my needs? How can they fill my emptiness? They are not thinking, how can I bless this person? How can I lift them? How can I give back what I have received? That is the difference between selfish love and true love. One is parasitic, the other is mutual. One drains, the other nourishes. One is shallow, the other is deep. So what must you do? You must watch the patterns. Anyone can say, I love you. Anyone can shower you with words. But watch how they act when you have nothing to offer. Watch what they do when you are the one in need. Do they still remain? Do they still care? Do they still stand by you? Or do they grow distant, cold, silent, and detached? Words can deceive, but actions never lie. People who fall in love with you only for what they can take will always reveal themselves over time. Their love will wither when the benefits are gone, because it was never love, it was dependence dressed in disguise. My friend, do not let this truth harden your heart, but let it sharpen your spirit. Recognize the difference between those who cherish you and those who consume you. Learn to guard your love, to protect your heart, and to reserve your deepest self for those who see you as more than a source, more than a tool, more than a benefit. Because real love, the kind that endures, does not ask, what can I take from you? But rather, what can I give to you? My friend, there is a reason the scripture tells us to guard our hearts. For out of it flows the issues of life. The heart is the wellspring of your being, the seat of your emotions, the center of your decisions. And when it comes to love, it is both the most powerful and the most vulnerable part of you. This is why discernment is not optional, it is necessary. Without it, you will give the most sacred part of yourself to people who do not deserve it, and you will waste the deepest treasures of your soul on those who only intend to misuse them. Discernment protects the heart like a watchman standing on the walls of a city, alert and vigilant, ready to identify who comes with pure intentions and who comes with destruction in mind. How many people have handed over their hearts too quickly, only to discover that the one they trusted had no real love for them? How many have been deceived by sweet words, false promises, and temporary gestures, only to be left shattered when the truth came out? This is why discernment is not about being suspicious of everyone, but about seeing beyond the surface. Discernment is the ability to recognize motives, to look past appearances, to test words against actions, and to sense when someone's affection is genuine or when it is a mask for selfishness. The heart without discernment is like a house with open doors and windows. It welcomes anyone, even those who come to steal, destroy, or harm. But the heart with discernment is guarded, not closed, but protected, allowing in only those who prove themselves trustworthy. Discernment is not natural suspicion, it is spiritual wisdom. It is the quiet voice within you that says, wait and watch. Do not be deceived by flattery. Do not rush into bonds that may cost you your peace. It is that inner strength that allows you to observe a person's consistency before you entrust them with intimacy. It is the reminder that love is proven not in words spoken in passion, but in loyalty shown over time. Many hearts have been deceived because they mistook charm for character. But discernment teaches you that charm can fade, beauty can deceive, and eloquence can hide motives. What cannot be faked, however, is the test of time. A discerning heart watches how someone acts when they no longer stand to gain, when there is no advantage, when the season changes and love is tested in the fire. Discernment also teaches you about boundaries. A heart without boundaries is vulnerable to exploitation, but a heart with discernment knows when to give and when to withhold, when to trust and when to wait, when to open and when to remain cautious. It is not about hardening yourself, it is about protecting the treasure within you. You must remember, not everyone deserves access to the deepest parts of your spirit. Some people should remain at a distance, some should only be acquaintances, and a very few should be allowed close enough to carry your heart. Without discernment, you will place the wrong people in the wrong places, and they will mishandle what was meant to be sacred. And my friend, discernment is not only about recognizing others, it is about recognizing yourself. Sometimes we are blinded by our own desires, our own loneliness, our own longing for connection. We want to be loved so badly that we ignore the red flags, silence the warning signs, and excuse behavior that should never be tolerated. Discernment forces you to confront your own heart honestly. It makes you ask, am I accepting this because it is love or because I am desperate for attention? Am I clinging to this person because they are good for me or because I fear being alone? Without discernment, you will confuse need for love, and you will settle for relationships that break you instead of build you. Discernment does not mean perfection, but it does mean patience. It calls you to wait long enough to see the truth revealed. It calls you to trust that time will always expose what words try to hide. A person may pretend for a season, but eventually their motives will be revealed. Discernment allows you to step back and say, I will not rush into this. I will not give my heart away cheaply. I will watch, I will pray, I will wait, and I will see. Because when love is genuine, it does not demand haste. Real love does not pressure, manipulate, or deceive. Real love stands the test of time. You see, discernment is a gift, but it is also a choice. It is the discipline of listening to your spirit instead of being led by your emotions alone. Emotions are powerful, but they are not always truthful. They can be stirred by attraction, by loneliness, by admiration, but discernment looks deeper. Discernment says, yes, I feel something, but I must also see something. I must see integrity, consistency, honesty, and sacrifice. Because without those, what you are calling love may only be illusion. And the beauty of discernment is that it not only protects your heart from the wrong people, it positions your heart for the right ones. When you guard yourself from those who only intend to take, you create space for those who intend to give. When you close the door on manipulation, you open the door to genuine affection. When you refuse to settle for counterfeit love, you prepare yourself to receive real love. And when that real love comes, you will know it because discernment will confirm it. My friend, life is too short and your heart is too precious to be wasted on those who cannot value it. This is why discernment is the shield of the soul, the wisdom that protects the deepest part of who you are. It will save you from countless heartbreaks, it will preserve your joy, and it will guide you into relationships that honor and uplift you. People may fall in love with you for many reasons, but without discernment, you will never know which love is true and which is false. That is why you must guard your heart with vigilance, for in doing so, you protect the very essence of your life. My friend, the true test of love is not found in the beginning when everything is easy, bright, and full of promise. The real test comes when the benefits are gone, when the season changes, when the storms of life come crashing in. That is when you discover whether the love you received was built on truth or transaction. For many claim to love you when the sun is shining, when your hands are full, when you are strong and radiant and able to give. But how many remain when the shadows fall, when your resources run dry, when your beauty fades, when your strength is broken? If their love was built only on what you could provide, then the moment those things are stripped away, so is their affection. But if their love was born in truth, it will remain unshaken, unbroken, unwavering, because truth cannot be destroyed by circumstances. A transactional love says, I love you because of what you do for me, because of what you give me, because of how you make me feel. It is built on conditions, and it survives only as long as those conditions are met. The moment you stop fulfilling the role they expect of you, the moment you can no longer deliver the benefit, that kind of love evaporates. But a love that is built on truth says, I love you for who you are, not for what you do. I love you in your strength and in your weakness, in your abundance and in your lack, in your victories and in your failures. That kind of love cannot be purchased. It cannot be manipulated. It cannot be faked. It endures because it is rooted not in circumstances, but in character, in spirit, in truth. Think of the bonds that have lasted through generations, the marriages that stood the test of decades, the friendships that survived hardship, betrayal, and distance. Those were not sustained by convenience. They were not sustained by constant benefits. They endured because they were built on truth. Truth does not change when the seasons change. Truth does not dissolve when pressure comes. Truth does not abandon you when you stumble. Truth says, I will stand with you even when the world turns against you. And when love is anchored in that truth, it becomes unbreakable. So many hearts are broken today because they invested in transactional love, mistaking it for the real thing. They thought the devotion was genuine, but it was only convenience. They thought the passion was deep, but it was only appetite. And when life tested it, it collapsed like a house built on sand. My friend, love that is not grounded in truth will always betray you, because lies and illusions cannot stand under the weight of time. But love that is born of truth, that is anchored in the eternal, will not only survive the storm, it will grow stronger because of it. And here lies the beauty of true lovey. It does not just endure, it transforms. When someone loves you for who you are, not for what you can give, it frees you. It allows you to be imperfect, to be human, to be vulnerable, without fear that their affection will vanish. It gives you space to grow, to stumble, to rise again, because their love is not based on a transaction, but on truth. And in that truth, you find safety. In that truth, you find strength. In that truth, you discover a reflection of the love that comes from above, the love that is not earned, not bought, not conditional, but given freely, enduringly, eternally. But you must understand, truth-based love requires discernment and patience to find. It will not always announce itself loudly. It will not always dazzle you with immediate passion or overwhelming charm. Often it reveals itself slowly, through consistency, through loyalty, through quiet actions that prove devotion over time. Transactional love is loud in the beginning, but fades quickly. True love may be quieter at first, but it lasts, it grows, it deepens, because it is built on something that cannot be shaken. This is why it is so important not to settle for anything less than truth. The world is filled with imitations, with counterfeits, with fleeting passions dressed as forever promises. If you are not careful, you will give your heart to someone who is only passing through, when what you need is someone who will stay. You will fall for someone who loves the idea of you, but not the reality of you. And when the illusion fades, their affection will too. But when you hold out for truth, when you wait for the love that endures, you will find a bond that cannot be severed by distance, by hardship, or by time. My friend, love is the most powerful force in the world, but not all love is the same. One kind is shallow, temporary, fragile, built on sand. The other is deep, lasting, eternal, built on rock. One fades when the benefits are gone. The other remains because it was never about benefits in the first place. One is a transaction, the other is truth. and the choice of which kind of love you accept will shape your life, your future, your destiny.